Don't forget the doc. Several network participants recently called into Dr. Rick Wright's Old School Sundays radio show. Check this out.
But first, let's go down to New York City, make a run down to the Big Apple, Harlem, man, and find Donald Singletary, our in-resident public relations genius and specialist, for Old School Sunday with Dr. Rick Wright. Hey, Donald Singletary, what's the deal in New York, man?
Rick Wright, Sunday afternoon in New York, and folks coming home from church, and a lot of folks just getting home from Saturday night. You know, Sunday in New York.
Oh, hey, hold it. When you run that by me again, people just getting home from Saturday night, huh?
That's right.
Boy, I'm telling you, New York City, man. I never forget, I went to New York one time. I didn't get no sleep for like 5 days, man. Oh, man. You know what? I never forget my Aunt Louise Lassiter, man, who lived on 140th Street and 8th Avenue, man. My aunt was in the numbers racket in New York City, man. I mean, she always had something going on, man. And she told me, she said, look here, nephew. There's one thing about New York. There's 2 things that are definitely a necessity. No sleep. And you said you can't get anything to eat, but you can always get something to drink.
This is true.
New York City, man.
Priority.
Yeah, so you'd be starved to death when you go to somebody's house. I mean, you want a drink, man? Got some brown liquor here for you or something
That's
like
right.
that, man. So, Donald, what's the latest, man?
Well, interestingly, you know, we talk about black history. And I came across, I know, Rick, you are a black radio historian and military historian yourself, and you are part of radio history yourself. But I just realized that one of the pioneers, Herb Gent, has just released his autobiography called The Cool Gent. And you know that was his handle, Herb Kent, The Cool Gent.
Oh, yes, WVON in Chicago, man.
Absolutely. He got his first job in 1944. His brother goes back. He says his college professor told him, he said, you know, you have the best voice in the class. It's too bad you can't use it on radio because you're a Negro.
That's right. That's what it was like, man, for the brothers. By the way, Hal Jackson is still on air. Isn't Hal on air right now at WBLS?
Hal is on, as we speak. Hal's on in New York.
Oh, man, that's a whole incredible historical legacy of African-American disc jockeys, Hal Jackson and Herb Kent, the Gentle Gent. And that book that he's got out, man, I'm sure some incredible stuff in there, man, talking about all the record labels, all the DJs, and, oh, man, that's about at least 65 years of African-American radio history, man. Oh,
that's
wow.
Right. He talks about that and the differences between how advertisers treated black disc jockeys and, you know, how artists got really, you know, jammed out of their money. And he's 80 years old now. And he talks about it, and, you know, the little gangster scene in the music business, which is nothing new. They give the hip-hop community gets condemned for it, but there's always been crime in the music business, as long as there's been a music business. Oh,
it's been some shootings and some real crazy stuff going on in the music industry. But this is a Grammy Sunday also, man, the Grammys tonight. Hey, by the way, the movie Cadillac Records, Leonard Chess, man, WVON and radio, talking about Etta James and Muddy Waters and all that group, man. I'm sure the Gentle Gent, Herb Kent, has got some incredible words to say about Chess Records, man.
Absolutely. And in fact, I did see that movie. I'm probably one of about 5 who did, because it didn't have much of a shelf life here in New York. But it told an interesting story. You know, we can't verify how much of it is so, but it told an interesting story, certainly the way things are. And they did a lot with the impact of black radio. And the importance of black radio at that time.
Also, you know, Jack L. Cooper was really the first African-American disc jockey in the history of American radio, and he went from Washington, D.C. to Chicago.
Absolutely.
And, of course, Jack L. Cooper, man, made a killing there in Chicago. But he had brokerage, and he had to buy his own time in order to appear on the radio, man.
Yeah, many of the jocks had to do that back in the day. Hal Jackson started the same way. You had to really buy your own time, hustle yourself.
Yeah,
get your own sponsors. Yeah.
Hal Jackson told me he walked into WNIX, man, in Washington, D.C. Winks, man, WNIX, and back in the late 1940s, early 50s, man, and they laughed him out of the station, man. He asked, you know, about wanting to be on the air and do a radio show, man.
Well, it's curious. I also saw the movie Notorious, which chronicles Christopher Wallace, a.k.a. Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, Biggie.
And interestingly, whatever you say about the hip-hop people today, they have managed to own themselves business-wise.
Well, that's a key element in that many of our people basically did not own the labels. You know, we didn't even get our own royalties, man. A lot of times we wrote a cut, man, and everybody else ended up putting their names on it, and they didn't even write the song, man.
Absolutely.
In order for it to get played. You know, Chuck Berry's record, I think Maybelline, has Alan Freed as a writer on the record, and Alan Freed didn't write one lick of that cut, man, and they put his name on it so we could get some airplay over the radio, man.
They have that in Cadillac Records. Moss Def plays a great portrayal of Chuck Berry, and that comes up.
Oh,
absolutely.
True story. I'm telling you, man. I tell you, I'm working on my book, too. I got about 15 chapters, man, and I'm steady working so I can get it done. I got a contract with a press down south that wants to do some damage to the book that is good stuff, you know, to get it published, man. And I just got to lock myself up in Wright, man. Wright. That's W-R-I-T-E.
Yeah.
And not W-R-I-G-H-T, you know.
Well, you're absolutely correct. And, you know, the other guy who got his out there a couple of years ago was Magnificent Montague got his book out.
Oh, the Magnificent Montague at KGFJ, man, out in Los Angeles, California, man. Oh, he had that big theme on the radio called Burn, Baby, Burn.
That's right.
The Magnificent Montague.
He also was an avid collector of African-American and African history artifacts.
Oh, the brother's incredible, man. And the thing about these are brothers that nobody knows about who were in radio and did an incredible, tremendous job. And we'll have to we'll get their chronology on paper, Donald. That's our role in 2009. Make this thing happen, man.
Well, I'm with you. I'm with you, absolutely.
Well, Donald, look, thanks for checking in, man.
Okay, and as I told you, we got that 369 event coming up, so I'll give you more details on that. We're going to have the commander call you.
Yes, have that beautiful sister, man, call me up here at Power 106.9 Radio so we can talk about the Harlem Hellfighters, man, the fighting 369th of World War I. And what's his name, the big musician?
Oh, James Reese Europe and Noble Sissel.
James Reese Europe and Noble Sissel, who hung out with U.B. Blake, man.
That's right.
Well, Donald Singletary, you are the real deal. I love you in this great African-American History Month. Thanks for being my in-resident public relations specialist, man, and you're the real deal, man.
All right, I'm going to step out in New York air now.
Hey, okay. New York City. Hey, by the way, Herb Kent, the gentle gent, hung out with a guy called Clarence Carter.
No kidding.
Yeah, and here's a big bad sound from Clarence Carter.
Okay, you can play that as I slip away.
Yeah. Showtime, Donald. Talk to you. All right, so get to all the Syracuse University alums throughout the world. Checking out Dr. Rick Wright, Power 106.9 Old School Sunday. On a big bad Sunday afternoon, Dr. Rick Wright live and well in Syracuse here at Power 106.9 Radio. Do it.
The network reminds you that you too may call in to Dr. Rick Wright on Sundays between 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check in with the doc at area code 315-428-1069. Don't forget the doc.